Please pray with me. Oh God, you have bound us together in a common life. Help us during our struggles for justice and truth to confront one another without hatred or bitterness and to work together with mutual forbearance and respect. Kindle in every heart the true love of peace and guide with your wisdom those who take counsel for the nations of the earth, that in tranquility your dominion may increase until the earth is filled with the knowledge of your love. Comfort and relieve your sick servants, especially Leon Parkin, Bob Elephant, and Robert and Dottie Fiddler, and give your powers of healing to those who minister to their needs, that those for whom our prayers are offered may be strengthened in their weakness and have confidence in your loving care. We commend to your gracious care in keeping all the men and women of our armed forces at home and abroad. Defend them day by day with your heavenly grace. Strengthen them in their trials and temptations. Give them courage to face the perils which beset them, and grant them a sense of your abiding presence wherever they may be. Thank you, Lord, for this good group, for letting us know that those great among us must first become great in serving others. Bless us with the purpose and pleasure of service and the joy of giving. Amen.
Which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First, try again. First, second, third, fourth, plus one. Thank you.
I definitely want to continue that. I love it. Drew is out today, and so we're going to have guests and visitors introduced by Jane Covington, our president-elect. And she's going to talk a little bit more about other things too, so.
Well, the guests and visiting Rotarians will be quite short because we don't have any today. So welcome to all of our club members today.
All right, that was quick and easy. Now that you're up, I'm going to go ahead and let you talk about the foundation.
Okay, so everybody is aware that we are in the midst of our foundation drive, and we're going to do our table report outs and see if anybody is getting anywhere close to table 3 this week. But first, I'm going to present an award, or a prize, I should say, not an award, for our first new Paul Harris Society member. Remember, when you sign up, you could get prizes. So please, everybody, look at your the sheets from your table captain, and if you've not yet decided what you're going to do, think about the fact that you could get really cool prizes if you sign up for something new or get your checks in quickly. All right, so this is for first new Paul Harris Society member, and it goes to President Betsy. It is a Saint Nick candle that's going to make her house smell really yummy and festive for the holidays. Okay, so let's start our table report outs for this week. Table 1. $3,530. So you got three. Okay, so that was your. Oh no. Other way around, yeah. Well, just keep writing checks. Just writing checks. Okay. Okay. So should we come back to table 1? You guys want to? Okay. Okay. So table 2, $350. Table 3. Table 3 is me. We have 0 new today, but that's okay because we are way the heck ahead of everybody. Table 4. 610 for table 4. Table 5. $1,500 for table 5, okay? Table 6. 2,200 for table 6. Table 7. 480. Okay, 480 for table 7. Table 8. 1,400 for table 8. Table 9. 900. And table 10. 0. Okay. Okay, so we're going to give Norris a moment and see what our grand total is. Oh, back to table 1. Table 1, did y'all do your math? Are you serious? I'm glad we gave you time to do your math. Oh, but today, what was today's total though? You got all that today? Okay, 1,900 today. For their total. Yeah, but we were just putting new money. Okay, okay. Trust me, I know. I couldn't hear you. $53,768. 53. Hold the presses. Hold up. Did you get that? You got it? Got it? So we are at 54,368. Wow. $54,368, y'all. Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Jane is doing such a good job with this. We're going to let her do this every year and she's not listening. So all in favor, say aye. Thank you. Too late. We're going to let Zach do Happy Bucks today because I'm happy because Zach's happy because he's got another birthday today. Happy birthday, Zach. And also, if y'all see Bob Ballantyne, I want to give him a call. It's his birthday as well. So Zach, Happy Bucks. Right up here.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. To whose else is happy that it's my birthday? I appreciate it. Jeff, what are you happy about?
I'm happy to be supporting Jordan's cause, and it's Sock Out Day for Alzheimer's awareness. And it was easy to sell me because I'm all about the orange socks.
Oh,
Awesome.
very good.
What a great thing to be happy about. Ellen, good to see you.
Hey, I'll tell you what, how about those Titans? We cannot be taken down. Nothing can stop us. Super Bowl.
Gotta have confidence. Gotta have confidence.
Skip Hebert, who is still in town.
Skip. Yes, I'm still in town. I was up in Ohio for 6 months this summer, and it gave me a new perspective. I owe all my UT friends an apology. You are not the most obnoxious fans. I was surrounded by fans from the Ohio State University. They are the worst. Oh, you're the worst.
Go blue.
OH. Who else is happy?
Who else is
Yeah.
happy? Okay, we got some more happy people. Rick and George
Okay, we'll go here.
and Tish.
I don't have any cash, so I will Venmo this. I'm very happy to have just completed a 7-day celebration for my husband's 10th birthday. I can't quite get that number out, but we've seen more of Nashville in the last 7 days with our kids visiting from California than we have in the last 2 years since we've been here. So I'm a happy camper.
All right.
That's awesome. Ish, I'm not sure what I like more, your hat or your hair, but it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Someone's a
George.
I'm happy
honor.
because Zach is happy. And also he's on my table team and we're at 100% today, thanks to our last contribution.
Awesome.
awesome. George.
Week Sunday, 81.
Oh,
Awesome.
was that 8th, 10th birthday?
Oh, we're gonna go April 9th still.
I
Bill,
too don't
welcome
have
back.
cash, so I'll Venmo, but I just want to thank the club and especially those individuals that contributed to the Roger Wheelwright Memorial. Flag is up. They have not had the dedication ceremony yet, and I promised we'd invite you when they do. But Irene has moved to Washington and they had delayed some receipt of some of the materials and upgrades to the flag. So I'm not sure when, but we'll notify you, get you out there for that dedication. But thanks to everybody that supported that.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Rick Finke,
Okay, back here. Rick, what's going on?
Dr. Rick.
I've got two parts, $1 to send you back to Ohio
Oh!
and $1 because I'm happy that we don't have to see Zach's birthday suit.
Ooh.
Hey, I'm gonna add to that too. Who else is happy?
Top that, y'all.
Yeah, right.
Anybody else? All right, thank you, Zach.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
That was good.
Patrick Wright has an announcement. I'm gonna get him to come up here for just a sec.
Again, it's that time of year. On your table, you have a sign-up sheet for the Little Harpeth River cleanup, which is February 5th of 2022. So that's not a typo. Get your head around that. As usual, I can use help with the day of, which is the sign in, herding the cats. And hopefully all the kids, parents, and other folks will be there to help volunteer. Also, if you are open to leading a section, if you've worked on the river, been on the river before and have a particular section, please let me know. That's always kind of the last thing we are able to complete to get everybody out that day. So if you mention to me you want to you want to participate, please just write your name on the list. I'll put this out again on the 10th when we meet, but we get back in January, it'll be upon us. So take those flyers. If you need to put that on your mirror in the morning as you're getting ready, motivational, talk to yourself, tell your grandkids, nieces, aunts, uncles, all those kind of folks. So greatly appreciate that. And in my fiduciary role, just a reminder that as we come into the end of the year, remember your Rotary dues on your Christmas list. So thank you very much.
And you do not have to be Superman or Wonder Woman to lead an area, but we will hold you in that esteem anyway, just to be sure you know. Neighbors are also welcome, by the way. We got thank you notes from Healing Housing, Alice Hill Nature Center, and the Martin Center. And Susie also thanks us for the plants for Jerry, which was nice. December 2nd is our banquet, 6 p.m., Richland Country Club. No meeting on December 3rd and no meeting on after December 10th. But be there December 10th because it's very, very important for us to have our annual assembly. So we'll have a couple weeks off and then we'll come back. February 5th again, remember that for the Little Harpeth. And we have Pancake Day scheduled. I want you to put it on your, yes, I'm excited about it. Put it on your schedule. We'll have more details from John when they iron those out, but Pancake Day will be April 23rd, which is the weekend after Easter, 2022. So we're planning ahead and that's great. So, gentlemen, and lady, this year I was trying to figure out what was the most important thing for us to do and as a Rotary Club. And I thought, well, we need to get back on our feet. And so it's great to know where we are. It's also great to know where we're going because we got a lot of great projects. But I thought it was also really important to know where we've been. We've got 50 years behind us almost. Next year's our 50th anniversary. And so for those of you who haven't been in the club 50 years, which is almost everybody, if not everybody, I want you to hear what a wonderful club this is and what a legacy we've got. So I invited some of our past presidents to get together. And the story went this way. Oh yeah, we'll be glad to do a program. And then I got a call back from Mike Barrett. Well, I think we're probably going to have to do 2 to cover everything. No problem. And then I get a call from Jonathan saying they want 4 programs. And I went, okay, yeah. But the fun part is, because it's our 50th anniversary next year, I welcome 2 more programs next year and another one in January. So we will have 4 programs. It takes that long, after all, to talk about 50 years of goodness. So I think, Michael Barrett, are you going to introduce us? I think we're going to have pictures taken for sure.
Thank you, President Betsy. Probably every one of us in this room, Thursday of next week, will gather with families. Some of us with extended families, and we'll sit around tables and we'll reminisce. We'll tell our stories. We'll tell the same story over and over again. And we'll laugh a little harder. And often we will maybe cry a little more. When we tell our stories, we pass on how God has truly blessed every single one of us in this room. We pass on legacy into who we are. Every one of us in this room are a part of the Brentwood Rotary Club that, as President Betsy just said, is a little over 48 years of age. Through those years and through the wisdom of many dedicated, faithful, hardworking members of this club, we've been able to accomplish a lot of things and spread goodwill throughout and across our world. Today's program really is the brainstorm idea of our good friend Roger Greenup and President Betsy, because every time we would visit with each other, we would kind of reminisce about the things that we have accomplished over those 48 years. And so today we've brought together a group of seasoned, I'll say seasoned. How's that? I was polite. Seasoned members of the Rotary Club. And I want to introduce all of them. Well, I'll just introduce Richard because I think Richard's going to introduce everybody else. So Richard Dickerson is going to be our leadoff guy.
Okay. Can you hear me? Because I do speak kind of softly. All right. Right. Let's see, what do we have up there? Okay. The Rotary Club of Brentwood was chartered on October 17th, 1973, with 35 founding members. Charles Lane, who was a senior executive of South Central Bell. So most of the people I mentioned are people that are very busy in their jobs. He was our first and second president of the club. And he was one of the 5 members of this club that served as district governor. And what you may not know about Charles Lane is that he was an international speaker for both Rotary and other corporations. And those of us that were around can remember how informational and inspiring and funny Charles Lane was. Our 2 members that have been in the club the longest, and I didn't say they were the oldest, I said the longest, was Roger Reed, who's been in the club 47 years, and Norris Johnson, who's been in the club 46 years. Now, Norris will tell you that he's not that old and that he came in the club at age 15. So, but, and I'm so thankful for Norris because he's the guy that brought me in the club. In 1979, we had our first Pancake Day. Jim Villers, in a little bit, is going to talk more about Pancake Day, but let me just tell you two things that is of interest. Early on, we met at the Brentwood Methodist Church, and so Pancake Day was in their parking lot under a tent. And some of us that were back then will remember the day it rained. Norris will remember that we were standing outside holding the flats down on that tent in about ankle deep of water, praying that it wouldn't, lightning wouldn't strike and wipe us all out. And then another very interesting time happened when Norris said, you know, we need to do something for the young people. Norris at that time, before he owned his own company, worked at Murrell High that made lawnmowers and bicycles. So he put on a bicycle rodeo for the young people, and the winner of that rodeo received a new Murray bike. Okay, in 1983, we organized and sponsored a new Rotary Club. It was called the Nashville South Rotary Club. Also in 1983, we started a new Interact Club, a high school Rotary Club. And at that time, Jim Parker was a member of our club, and he was principal of Brentwood High. Jim is still in the club now, and he's in the Breakfast Club now. Also in 1983, we established the Bob Billington Award to honor an outstanding Rotarian for the year. Now, you may not know who Bob Billington was. He was the second president of our club and the first member of this club that became a district governor. He was actually Mr. Rotarian. And if we had time, we could, there are several of us could tell stories about Bob Billington all day long. And in 1987, we were selected the outstanding Rotary Club in our district. Now, the interesting part is that through the years, this club has been given all awards all through the years. But one of the awards that we get more than anything else, and it's, I want to say this for today, is that we've been given the award for being the club that contributes the most in our district to the Rotary Foundation. And even when we split and said, okay, you can give part of your money to the local foundation and part to the International Foundation, we still became the club that contributes the most. And we're not the largest club in the district either. Now, in 1988, we constructed the Rotary Pavilion. And Sid Smith's going to talk about that in a few minutes. And then in 1990, we developed and constructed the Deerwood Arboretum, and Sid's going to talk about that also. Now, 1982 was a very special year for this club because that's the year that Suzie joined our club. Now, if you think that's funny, Suzie was the first female president of our club. Now, more important than that, though, that during the 29 years that Suzie has been a member of this club, she's been involved in virtually every activity of the club, whether it was chairman of a committee or working on a committee or Pancake Day or Run for Rotary or the golf tournament. Susie's always there. And not only our club, but on a district level, that for years she's worked with our district. And I would suppose that she has spent as much time working for our district as many of the district governors have. She's given her time, her talents, and her resources to Rotary. And I believe that she is an example for service above self. kind of snuck that in. Okay, in 1994, we started a girls invitational basketball tournament. And Mr. Rod Freeman, and by the way, this is a t-shirt basketball tournament. So y'all remember that. Rod Freeman, who is Mr. Basketball, and he'll be introduced later. He's going to talk on our basketball tournament. I don't know if you know, and I won't go into all the things, but Miss Rod Freeman is in the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame. But he will talk about that later. Now, 1997 was an interesting year. Tom Burton, who was executive director of Agape, which we support, and also president of the club, decided to do bone mass marrow testing. We tested at Brentwood Methodist Church. We tested at Vanderbilt. We tested at Woodmont Hills Church of Christ. In fact, Hearts of America, who sponsors the bone marrow testing, said that the testing that we did at Woodmont Hills Church was the largest number of people to ever be tested for bone marrow and is in their registry. The other thing that happened during the testing at Woodmont Hills was there was a young mother named Martha Carpenter that was tested. And we later found out that she matched a lady in Texas. Now, there's a lot about that story, but I'll just tell you one little thing is that when she got there to do the testing and the giving up her bone marrow, they found out that Martha was anemic. And the doctor said, you don't need to do this. This could take your life. Martha said, no matter, do it. The interesting part is that 21 years later, and I talked to Martha a few days ago, she is still in contact with the recipient of the bone marrow. You see, Tom Burton, this club, Martha Carpenter, we all had a piece of saving a life, thanks to this club. Now, in 2001, we began the Habitat of Humanity of Williamson County. Here's some other things. In the early years, we did some long-range strategic planning. Actually, when Jim Villers was president, we started it and we finished it when Suzie was president, to kind of guide this club for the future. And during that period of time, we also established guidelines for our scholarships for our high school students. The other thing that happened that we really enjoyed was one of our members, Tom Lawrence, would give us the news. And I'm not going to tell you the real story on Tom Lawrence, but Tom Lawrence gave us the news and he was really good. But we also had a guy named Bill Wills, and y'all remember Steroid Johnson, if you remember Bill Wills. Now, here's some future programs that we just don't have time today to do, but we're going to do in the future. We're going to discuss the Tennessee Baptist Children's Home Christmas Party. Some of you remember Dr. Gene Harmon, who was a member of our club for a long time, now retired. He was involved in our scholarship program. They put on a program when we gave out our scholarships, but he also was real involved in the Baptist Children's Home. That'll be a program for another day. And then Amy Hawkins, her story, 2010, the flood victim story. And then we dug a well, and then from that fresh water did an irrigation system in Malawi. And then the school feeding and the water projects and revamping schools in Belize that many in this club got involved in. Now, there's one other thing that could be another program discussion, another program, but I really won't get into that. And that is that under Jim's great leadership, the year he was president, we were meeting at Richland Country Club. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the year, we get a call from Richland Country Club says, you're kicked out. Sometimes later we'll tell you that whole story if you don't know it. Okay. Our next two speakers are Jim Villers and Sid Smith. Both of these men have been president of the club. Both of them have been on the local foundation board. Both of them have, like Susie, been involved in every activity of this club for more than 30, almost 40 years. They've given their time and their talent and their money to this club. Annually, they contribute generously to this foundation, but they also at the same time have contributed to the International Foundation. Both of them are major donors, which means they have given $10,000 or more to the International Foundation. They've given their time and talent also. They're true Rotarians. And Jim's going to speak first and then Sid, but before we do that, Sunday, Sid was an octogenarian. Will you stand and let's sing happy birthday to Sid? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sid. Happy birthday to you. And if you don't know, an octogenarian is 80.
Thank you, Richard. Sid wants me to come help him get up to the podium after this. First of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity. I got a call Monday night from two gentlemen, Roger and Mike, and they said, Jim, this is 8:30 at night, and I'm usually in bed by 6. So they said, are you in bed? And I said, no. But it started me thinking, they asked me, Rod couldn't do this because he's down in Florida with his grandchildren. And they asked me if I'd do this. And it brought me back to thinking about my first talks in front of the Rotary Club. And I can tell you, I was nervous as a cat talking in front of all these people who were in Rotary. And it just, I want to say Rotary has helped grow me up. And I'm sure if you get involved in it, it'll help grow you up as far as speaking. Now, I'm not going to tell you you're going to get a great speech today, but I didn't worry about it. Pancake Day started as a community event and a fundraiser, more of a community event. And during the years that we've had it, we've had sometimes up to 1,500 people that we've served pancakes and sausage to. That's an amazing Saturday morning, and more amazing, a big feat to put on. As Richard said, first one was at the Brentwood United Methodist Church, and it's helped raise money for the community all these years. But I've talked to Rod Freeman and a few other people. This is more than a community event. This is an event that really has drawn this club together. I know from a perspective of me, Pancake Day is the day that I got to know a lot of you closer. You can sit at a table and talk to somebody when you're working by somebody, mixing pancake batter or whatever. It allows you to get close and get to know people. We started having the pancake breakfast at middle school in Brentwood. And Rod was telling me a story about small community Brentwood. We'd supposed to be over there at a certain time and the building wouldn't be locked up, or a building would be locked up. And Rod would go to the assistant principal's house and get the key, and the principal would say, when you're done with it, bring the keys back. He wouldn't go with us. We were given the building. That says a lot. Every Rotarian is supposed to participate, and I strongly recommend next year, when those of you who haven't, that you get involved in Pancake Day. There are so many areas that make this success. Procurement, I remember being on the procurement committee. And it was a little different back then. The people who were leading us told us to go out and get this stuff for free. Don't pay for anything. You probably remember that, Harold. It's like we didn't pay for anything. Purity milk, sausage, we didn't pay for anything. And that teaches you a lot about, but we got to tell the Rotary story, and that was a good thing when you go out. Purity Dairy, a lot of people donated a lot of things to us. There's setup. Friday morning, we set up. You know, one of the memories I always remember is George Brantley with his wrenches over there setting the propane tanks up. Had to be precise, and I'm glad he was. Cooking. Rod Freeman told me a story, and I don't remember this one, but Tom Burton and Sid Smith dressed up as their army people one time, is what I'm told, and taught us how to cook or make pancakes. Is that correct? Cleanup. You know, we all got to serve, we all got to cook in some ways. Once you stepped up the ladder a little bit, you could cook. None of us wanted to be on the cleanup committee. None of us wanted to be on the clean, but you know, I ended up on the cleanup committee quite often. But there was one person that again stood out to me, Ken Arney. I don't know for you guys, most of you don't know Ken. He was a former president of this club, but Ken was the most meticulous person. One of the things we always worried about is leaving stuff on the grills for a year and they weren't clean for the next year, and you'd have to come, Bill, you remember that? And you think, how are we going to get these next year? Ken Arney was meticulous. He would wrap those things, clean them. He'd make sure they were clean. You know, I just remember that about him, that when he was gone, it was like we were in a mess. We didn't know what we were doing. Several stories. I don't know many of you, I don't know if any of you were here when I would tell you, Sandy Lloyd was a member of our club. Sandy Lloyd owned a fireworks place in Laverne, and that's where he stored all his fireworks. Rod tells me that there was 20 of us went out there to pick up the grills. Now these grills are heavy, but he had them stored up in an attic all around his fireworks. And it's like, we're scrummaging, dirty, getting all these things. And Rod came up with the idea after that, we're going to store these someplace else. And Rod stored them at his place. I stored them at my place. But that I think there was 20 of us went out there. Any of you with me that day when Rod? It was a mess, I tell you. You know, one of the things also for me that's real personal, my son got cancer when he was 4 years old, and I'm going to have George stand up here so we can give him, but a lot of people in the club gave blood for John Ryan. And then we started the blood drive. First year we did it, we got 6 pints. Remember that? And I thought, this was a flop. And the lady told me, she goes, no, you saved 18 lives today. George has told me we've given over 1,500 pints of blood. I remember Chuck Wooten, who's a dear friend of mine and a good member here, would always be at the organ donor table at Pancake Day, getting people to sign up for organ donation. Robert Fiddler, Run for Rotary. How many of you remember that? I remember being on the cone head team, setting up cones. But Chief Hughes, I got to have you stand up here. Now, the first question, is it the truth is what I'm going to remind you of here. There was the run for Rotary, and it was either the police department or the fire department that were running the race and ran it backwards because they made a wrong turn. Do you remember which one that was? I'm glad Chief Goss wasn't here today. Something more recently, we had clowns, bouncy houses for the kids. Who among you have been clowns? Stand up, please. Thank you. The other thing, I'm going to clarify something. Now, some of you have heard rumors that when I was a conehead and we were setting up the run for Rotary, that I ran out of gas setting up cones. And I am here to tell you I did not run out of gas. That rumor has to stop. I was pretty close, but I got to the gas station in time. So we're going to cut that off, Mike. But Pancake Day is a community event, but I think it's a community event for our club here. And for those of you who have, I say thank you because it means a lot to our community, the money we raise, but the fellowship and the friendships that have come from it are amazing. So next year I asked you, everybody, you're supposed to be involved, but I just asked you willingly to get involved in it. And let's see where we can take it from here. Sid, you want me to help you out?
But I'm all right. I want to give you just a preview. A lot of what we do is for people, and it's for directly impact people for good. We've done some things that are physical, that are constructive, that you get to see. They last a while. And I want to talk about the two things. One is the pavilion. I think most of you know where that may be. You know what that used to be? Chief, do you not remember what that was? It was called the Bull Farm. You're saying, what is that? That was a UT Ag Service. They were trying to develop beef cattle and dairy cattle that had best attributes of both. They didn't do much with it. They gave it to the city. They moved that operation to Martin, Tennessee, to the Tennessee Martin. That's where that came from. It came free to the city, and they asked us, what do you think we might do with that? Well, there are all these nice houses around there. What do you do with that? We started out ball fields and things like that. We came up with the idea of the ball fields, and the people want to do that for the pavilion. And the pavilion was going to be a place in Brentwood where people of all groups, not just our group, could come together in good weather and meet in an open air facility. We were going to do like a convention center there before that, but the money was too much. The city didn't have the money. We sure didn't have the money. We were going to just kind of have the idea and help do it. But we had our architect in-house do it. We came with the pavilion. Bill Keeney was the president that year, and without him, we probably wouldn't have gotten that deal. There's a 15-acre piece right there. Can you go to the next one, Linus? This was a steel structure. It's a hexagon base. It's a 65-foot hexagon base. Some of y'all think, what is that? That's an equal length sided, six-sided base. It is a large facility. The project bogged down because you're getting construction companies to do things for us when they can for little or nothing. So we got put on the back burner for many people. But it finally got done. Bill Keeney more or less threatened a couple of them and said, we'll say bad things about your company if you don't get this done. So anyway, it got finished up like that. That's a good place. If you haven't been there, there's a plaque there that recognizes the 25 individuals and companies that did that. That was an interesting project. If you haven't been there, you can book it through the Park Service. You can have things there. A lot of family reunions there. Let's go to the next one. The next one is the Arboretum. I'm interested in this because I live about 6 houses away on the same street. This was a piece of property left over when the city of Brentwood had to go out of the sewer business. You're probably saying you didn't know that. You thought we were all septic tank city. Well, they decided in about 1975 on that piece of property because most of it's floodland. It's about 28, 29 acres. It never got surveyed because the river is part of the boundary. And it's hard to have a clean boundary on something like it with a stream. It's at the end of Deerwood Lane. It's floodland. It's a good place for sewage treatment plant. And we ended up putting it, if you go to the next one. It is. The last lot you see right there, it's behind there and down in there. Floodplain land is good for football fields, things like that. It is subject to flood. It floods very often. The city of Brentwood built the sewage treatment plant in 1975. Growth exceeded what they had projected for that plant. And in 1987, the state of Tennessee said, you got to do something else. Rather than make a larger plant going into a small receiving stream like the Little Harpeth, they made a deal with Metro. And so wastewater that is collected by sewer now in Brentwood goes down in Little Harpeth all the way down to Otter Creek, coming into Little Harpeth. There's a pump station that goes to Metro. So that went out. That was in 1987. That plant only operated 12 years. In 1990, we talked about putting in an arboretum. At the time, I didn't know what an arboretum was. I'm an engineer. We tear up stuff. We tear down trees. We don't grow trees. We don't do much pretty stuff. We pave and put concrete over it. It was a whole new concept for me. But what it is, an arboretum is a tree park. And the reason we looked at that, we had some people here that had good recognition. There are many natural trees there. This is a natural overbank. This whole area that you're looking at there, except the part, if you look at the bottom of this, where the notch is, right in there, that's the only part that doesn't flood. And I've lived in Deerwood long enough to see it flood. They think it's a 100-year flood. I think it's a 10-year flood. I've been there almost 30 years, well, over the 30 years, it's flooded 3 or 4 times. So it is floodland. We decided we would look at something like an arboretum. Again, I didn't know what an arboretum was. It's a tree park. And what you want in something like this is a wide variety of naturally occurring trees. There's 70 kinds of trees. To me, all trees are alike. Yeah, that's part of my background of what I do. If you see a tree, cut it down and take. That's just the way I think. The people that come to see me, that's what we do. But this is a good idea we had, and you have to be certified by the National Arboretum Society. And what they do is come out and look at what you've got. They do an inventory and they look to see if what you're saying is true. And it is. And we were certified in 1990. In 1992, that we were working with the city. In 1992, we came up with a plan to do some things there. We came up with a couple of ponds and some walking trails. And the first trail, the trails out there now are paved. They first were paved with mulch. And some of y'all may remember the work days where the city just kept bringing mulch. And we're trying to have work days every Saturday with wheelbarrows and moving that stuff around. And it gets kind of old because that mulch is wet. And it's heavy. And you're going half a mile to the east with that. It's later came along and we said, we've had the concept, we've done things for the city. Why don't you pave these trails? And they did. It's hard surface now. Then they came along with the idea that we would have a nature center there. The city built that. We did, when we first did the trails, we graded out 2 ponds. And my firm did that. We thought this was really going to be neat to have 2 little ponds out here. They're about 1.5 acres each. We put them in, we put ceiling clay in there, natural clay, the whole water. Muskrats came to do that and lived, and we cut holes in that right at the water line. So the water goes down. We did more work, we cut more in. you'll see now that it's dry. We're looking at trying to get something there which is synthetic. We put more clay liner in there, but muskrats just go through it right at the water line and it drains. They fill up in the wintertime because the floodplain, the river gets out of the bank, fills them up, and that lasts till about early May. And then they drain it again. Sometime later, I'd like to have a little more detail on this for the rest of you that haven't been here a while and look at that. But we turned in the site for a National Arboretum certification. And after looking at it, they come to see if they agree to it. So it is a somewhat unique facility that we have that naturally occurs. That's all I've got. I think it'd be good though when we have a chance to talk about it more. And then have some more work days out there. I think when you come with a background of what we've done and where it's come from, I think you'll appreciate it. It's a unique opportunity and we took a chance to do it. Thanks.
Let me just kind of conclude. Several years ago, I had the opportunity to teach project business at Brentwood Academy and Grassland Middle School for a few years. The highlight of the school was to take them on a tour. So we took a field trip to Purity Dairies. While they were at Purity Dairies, they got a tour of the plant. They were fed lunch. They were given all the ice cream they could eat. And then they had a business session where the people at Purity Dairies told them about how they made money and that sort of thing. At the end of that, old Mr. Ezell, the founder that milked a cow, put it in a container and took it door to door to sell, got up and said, now, students, here's what I want to tell you. This community has really been good to us. And therefore, we give a majority of our profits back to the community that's been good to us. And what I want to tell you is that when you start working and you start your career, if you will give back to your church and your community, you'll be blessed. And I got to thinking, wow, that's what our foundation drive is all about. If we dig deep and give generously to our foundation, we can do good in our community and through the world. And the truth is, individually and collectively, we'll be the ones that'll be blessed. If you have any questions, I think Roger's going to fill those.
Whoever's decision it was to do away with the dunk tank at the pancake breakfast in April. Thank you.
Sid or somebody give a little more history on Bill Keeney and flying the hump in China. Here, Bill Keeney was a retired Air Force colonel, flew several missions in India with a hump, World War II. It tells some real stories, and a little boy like me, listen, that stuff's very interesting. He was very civic minded. He has passed away, but he personally saw that the pavilion got built. When you're asking people to do work for free, I'm talking about contractors, they will come when they don't have anything else at all to do, because they're in business to make money. We got that thing started, got the slab poured. It's a concrete slab with steel vertical parts and a standing seam metal roof. It's got this material laying there. The material people brought it as land. We've got big pieces of steel. We've got corrugated metal laying everywhere. The city of Brentwood's getting a little upset with us because this stuff's laying out there and nothing's happening. So Bill, just by force of character, I think he put on his colonel, Air Force colonel hat again and said, get over here or we're going to start seeing negative things about you in the Brentwood paper. That we hadn't We had help, but the help doesn't show up. And it was interesting in that I think they felt the threat and they came. And in about 2 or 3 weeks, it was finished. It gone from everything laying on the ground to what you see out there now got done very quickly. But we've had people, colorful folks in this club that have done a good job. And I think when you hear some of these things, there have been people here that have done a good job in the name of Rotary or the community or for different things like that. This was an achievement award from the district about that, but not many people have it. This is an open air building, so it doesn't have any utilities, it just has light. Everything else is there. There's a reservation process with the park board to do that. So if you want to meet that, you can use that. It is used pretty much the time. Don't think you can call this week for next week. It is booked and has a lot of things once the weather gets warm. We have had some colorful people in this club. Brother Keeney was one of them. He was good. Betsy, are we done? I think we are. I'll let you end this meeting.
Well, we have some amazing leaders and can't wait to hear part 2 in January. So stay tuned, as they say. We've got a few more announcements by the end of the day here. Right. First of all, on the 10th, we're going to be voting on the revised bylaws. And today, Hunter McCarty had a meeting of community service folks and had a great idea. And that is, we need to find out where there are more opportunities for us to serve. I'm talking about getting out of your chair and going down and helping people directly. So you can help people by your prayers, your gifts, and your services. This is the services part. So we want you to think about locally what types of things you know need the help of bodies, need the help of Rotarians to possibly be there. Think about that and bring those ideas with you on the 10th of December, because we'll talk about that a little bit after we vote in the slate of officers. But this is a new way to recharge the club in that maybe you don't have a lot of resources, but you have a lot of energy and love to serve that way. So come with those ideas. And even if you can't serve, but you know of a need, please try to give us those ideas as well. We really appreciate that. Can't say enough about our panel. Thank you so much again. It's great to be following in your footsteps. Hopefully we can continue to do a fantastic job for the next 50 years. Appreciate you very, very much. Yes, sir. Bill Coyne.
Those of you who didn't know Bill Kinney like I did, when I was president, we started talking about this, the pavilion, and what we were going to do. We had an idea. But the main thing, we talk about who, Bill was the driver, but the one who drove Bill was Wilma, his wife. And I'll tell you what, she walked the line. And I tell you, there was some times that we really needed her, and she did a great job. So I want to recognize Wilma along with Bill, that they were truly a great couple. Thank you.
Right. They definitely were. And as a matter of fact, they have left an incredible Rotary legacy in that their son-in-law is the president of the morning club this year. So that's pretty interesting. And the guy that married their daughter ended up being one of our district governors, Larry. So very, very good legacy of Rotary going on there. If Pancake Day, remember, put that on your calendars, April 23rd. And finally, if you would help put the tables up and chairs against the walls, is there anything else for the good of Rotary? Alan Treadway, did we meet last week? Oh, so we don't have to hide our desserts anymore. It's awesome. Oh, all right. Don't forget the banquet on the 2nd. Don't meet on the 3rd and come back on the 10th. Again, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I'm very thankful for all of you. We are adjourned.